Well, it's almost a similar situation in the House of Representatives. The lawmakers there are looking into the government's kerosene subsidy policy and how it is being funded. But sometimes the hearing can take a different turn.
It's a continuation of the investigation into issues surrounding the subsidy on kerosene. The Director General of the Budget Office appeared before the House Committee on Petroleum Resources Downstream.
I wish to state from the very beginning that the Ministry of Finance does not provide subsidy for provision for subsidy payments for kerosene. The management of kerosene imports and supplies and distribution, from our understanding, is something that has been in the purview of NNPC throughout this period, and we've not had, requests made that for specific for kerosene payments, and we do not make such payments. I want to emphasize that, as you know very well, they have the sole responsibility for managing kerosene importation. They provide all of the supplies, as far as I'm aware, to the local Nigerian market. There are no other importers, as far as I'm aware, on the issue of kerosene, and their dealings on this particular product, as I said, they managed to supply the market. Well done. It is it's been their prerogative and their major responsibility over the years. So basically, I don't have much more than this to say to the committee on this issue.
A confrontation, however, ensued between members of the committee over the line of questioning.
The second question is it true?
Sorry, Emma.
No, let him finish his question before we can raise any point of.
Sorry.
It's a question.
Sorry. See. In our rules book, under public hearing, there's no point of order. If you have a specific issue to raise, when that finish his own question, you can now raise. You have opportunity to ask questions. You can now raise your own issue.
This is a question.
So just go ahead.
If the issue has nothing to do with the we are going contrary to our rule. We are going contrary to the rules also.
No, listen, that we are keeping quiet doesn't mean we don't know what to say. You direct your questions in relation to what.
I think if I may suggest, we should not do these things in party line. We should not do this in party line.
No, it's not. You are not to do party line. Sorry.
Like that. You won't go anywhere with that. Direct your questions to the issues at hand. And don't go and ask any
We are here to protect
Nigeria. Gentlemen.
We are here to represent Nigeria. Whether you are PDP, you are APC, whatever party you belong to, we will have the right to answer. Nobody talks about party.
One meeting, please. One meeting now. What is it, honorable members?
We all took oaths that.
Oh, go ahead with your meeting. Sorry. I don't think.
The attempt by the chairman of the committee to restore order led to another confrontation.
Please allow the man who is asking question to ask his question. After he's done with his question, if
the ruling is biased, we will challenge it. That is the rule.
If you have issues to raise, when you have questions, you can raise your own issues. Thank you very much.
That's not fair on the chairman. If you are a chairman of the committee,
No. Just go ahead.
he is the chairman. If we choose to pass decision within the committee, so be it. So be it.
Is he a private enterprise? You are representing Nigeria.
Gentlemen,
This is not finance committee.
gentlemen, gentlemen,
What kind of
gentlemen,
you are talking to me? You
gentlemen,
presented a report, you denied it.
gentlemen,
Don't forget that if there's any report, we all have to sign it.
Caution, we are trying to guide this nation.
Order was eventually restored and the hearing continued till the end of the day. The committee says the hearing will continue into next week.
I am intelligent.
I'm incisive.
I am passionate.
I am focused.
I am diplomatic.
I'm creative.
I am people-oriented.
I am logical.
I am detailed.
I am determined.
I am inquisitive.
I am trained. You're welcome back to the Gavel. Now, one of the issues that has surfaced from the suspension of the CBN governor, Sanusi Lamido, is the focus on the act setting up the bank. Should it be amended or not? This was a question that we put to the chairman of the ad hoc committee on banking when we had a chat with him recently.
Yeah, it depends on what aspect of the act that gives too much power to the CBN governor. I know for sure that we were actually looking at the possibility of amending CBN Act with respect to the composition of the Monetary Policy Committee, which is the beginning of everything that has to do with the macroeconomic outlook of this great country. And for sure, some people have also argued that it gives the CBN governor an undue advantage. We need to look at the totality of the act and look at areas to amend. For instance, I can also tell you rightly, the issues of liquidity management, the issues of intervention, issues of so many things that come up by virtue of the fact that the present act allows them to do certain things. But you can compare that even with the Reserve Bank Act. It's completely different. You can check it up, look at particular reference to probably Section 3, A, B, C, D of the Reserve Bank Act. Every intervention to the very last must be presented to the Congress. Complete details of every intervention. To the extent you have to justify the exercise of authority to provide such assistance, you have to identify the recipients of such assistance, you have to state the date and amount of the assistance and the form in which the assistance was provided. You have to look at the material terms of the assistance, which includes duration, includes collateral pledge and the value thereof, includes all interest fees, all revenue, and items of value to be received in exchange for the assistance. You have to look at the requirements imposed on the recipient with respect to employee compensation, distribution of dividends, or any other corporate decision in exchange of the assistance. You have to also look at the expected cost to the taxpayers of such assistance. So we need to bring this to bear with our own act. So we're going to look at the totality of all that because we have issues with it. Look at the issues of Keystone Bank and other of some of these nationalized banks. I mean, the truth of the matter is that the disengaged staff have issues with it. So we need to look at all that because the act didn't deal with them specifically. So it's a total overhaul.
There's also the people have come up during this whole issue, the issue of whether or not he can be suspended, the CBN governor can be suspended or not. It appears in the act, it appears it's only you can remove the governor. The act is silent on other ways of disciplining or even like the president is saying now, he was not removed, but if an investigation has to be done, he shouldn't be there to do that. Don't you think, are these also things you think that should be amended, or it's okay the way it is?
Yeah, for us to be very frank with you, everything about legislation is evolving. Yeah. This is a new one. Nobody ever contemplated that it will happen. The truth is that the act itself didn't deal specifically with that word suspension. Yeah. So it's a new introduction to us. So as a committee, we have not sat officially on it, but be rest assured that we're going to deal with it. We're going to look at it and find out how that helps, with the runnings or operations of CBN. And if you feel that it is necessary to include that word suspension, we'll do that.
Okay, now I would like to understand from you, your committee, and you chair the committee that oversights the CBN. Now, a lot has been said about the act as regards its independence and all that. Now, I'd like to know from you, in the course of your oversight in that institution, have you had issues of maybe feeling that independence may have been a hindrance to your own role oversighting them?
I want to align myself with the submissions of Benanke, the chairman of the Reserve Bank. He said, yes, every central bank is independent, but it's not unconditional.
Meaning?
Yeah, because what that means is that they're accountable.
They should be accountable.
Yeah, they should be accountable. And that's the honest truth. And that's why you have in the Reserve Bank Act specific provisions that make them accountable. There's no penny that CBN will pay without reporting back to the Congress with complete details of why the money was given. Now, let me also state this, because it's also important, because there are issues that, yes, you don't make necessarily, you don't make it known necessarily to the public. But the point is that you must make it known to the relevant committees of both houses, the Senate and House of Representatives, as stated even in the Reserve Bank Act. Look at sections, what section is that? 3D. The last part of it, I think, is about 3D subsection 3, which says that identifying details concerning the assets or collateral held by, under, or in connection with such a program or facility shall be kept confidential upon the written request of the chairman of the board, in which case such information shall be made available only to the chairpersons or ranking members of the committees described in subparagraph C, which is the relevant committees of the Congress and the House of Representatives, and of course the House of Representatives. With these issues of liquidity management, with the huge sums involved, we must know details. How do you spend this money? What is it for? We must be in the picture of what's going on. It probably will not be for the public knowledge, but at least to the relevant committees of both houses.
Am I to take it that we didn't have such disclosure before?
You may be correct to the extent that maybe the details have not been made known. But the point is that overall figures, the total figures may have been disclosed, but it's beyond that. We need to have details.
Now, this is where we draw the curtains for this week's edition of The Gavel. If you have any views or opinions on any of the issues discussed, please email us on thegavel@channelstv.com. Thank you for staying with us, and see you again next week.